What is up, brawlers, bladers, and fellow awesome nerds? It is I, Bakudad, one half of the Baku Boys, and if this is your first time to the channel, please hit that like and subscribe button. Also, please be sure to drop us a comment and check out our other projects in the description below, as we do try and release weekly Bakugan, Beyblade, and other awesome nerdy content every Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday. But with that being said, let's go ahead and jump into what I've got in store for you guys for this video. So today is Saturday, December 10th. Yeah, Saturday, December 10th. And it has been a kind of unplanned, but Bakukid and I did it anyways, a Magic the Gathering week. And we kind of planned on this like last minute after we recorded the Wednesday video for the Brothers War bundle box unboxing, which was super awesome. As all of you know, everything's pre-recorded, so I'm recording this Black Friday weekend. By the time you guys see it, it will be Saturday, December 10th, though. But my LGS was doing a Black Friday sale, and I wound up getting, Bakukid and I were hoping to get a second bundle box of Brothers War, but that did not work out. So, what we are actually going to be doing today, instead, is pretty much the same amount of packs that we would get in a bundle box, but we're going to be opening 4 Dominaria United and 4 Brothers War packs for today's unboxing video, since I could not get a Brothers War bundle box for Bakukid and I, because Bakukid and I, we were really hoping to score that weak stone spin down die, but we might try and be able to get one of those in the future, we hope. But I'm not going to waste that much more time. I'm going to jump straight to the table where we are going to get this booster pack opening underway. I will catch you guys at the table in just a moment. Yow! All right, and here we are back at the table, ready to crack open some booster packs. And let's go ahead and start off with the Dominaria United first, and then the Brothers War last, because Dominaria United is the first set to come out of this block. So let's just go ahead and get right into it. Some cards I'm actually hoping that Bakukid and I might still be able to get out of Dominaria United that we haven't got already. We finally got Karn, but we're still hoping to get Shieldred. We're still hoping to get Liliana. We're still hoping to get Braids. So let's see. Our art card is the Yavimaya Coast. We get a Forest. Ooh, we get a Sunlit Marsh. Let's go ahead and make some separate piles real quick, because I like to do that. Sunlit Marsh adds a plains or a swamp. Sunlit Marsh enters the battlefield tapped. It's actually not bad. That's a dual land. Viashino Branch Rider. It's a 1/1 Viashino Warrior for a mountain. It has a kicker of a forest and 2. It has haste. If Viashino Branch Rider was kicked, it enters the battlefield with 2 +1/+1 counters on it. And then you can tap a mountain and 2. Viashino Branch Rider gets +2/+0 until end of turn. Talus Lookout. A 3/2 human pirate for 2 islands and 2. It has flying, and when Talus Lookout dies, look at the top 2 cards of your library, put one of them into your hand and the other into your graveyard. Hammerhand. An R enchantment. Enchant creature when hammer hand enters the battlefield. Target creature can't block this turn. Enchant creature gets +1/+1 and has haste. And it costs a mountain. Okay, Cult Conscript. A 2/1 skeleton warrior for a swamp. Cult Conscript enters the battlefield tapped. And for a swamp and 1, return Cult Conscript from your graveyard to the battlefield. Activate only if a non-skeleton creature died under your control this turn. Aaron, Benalia's Ruin. A 3/3 legendary creature, Phyrexian human, for a swamp and 2 plains, and it has Menace. Creature can't be blocked except by 2 or more creatures. And then for a plains, a swamp, and tapping, Aaron, sacrifice another creature, put a +1/+1 counter on each creature you control. That's actually not a bad ability. Phyrexian Missionary, a 2/3 Phyrexian human cleric for a plains and 1, and it has a kicker of a swamp and 1, and it has lifelink when Phyrexian Missionary enters the battlefield. If it was kicked, return target creature card from your graveyard to your hand. Tatyova, Steward of Tides, a 3/3 legendary creature merfolk druid for a island and 2 forests. Land creatures you control have flying. Whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, if you control 7 or more lands, up to 1 target land you control becomes a 3/3 elemental creature with haste. It's still a land. That's not bad. I like that ability. Rada Coalition Warlord, a legendary 3/3 legendary elf warrior for a forest, mountain, and 2. It has domain. Whenever Rada Coalition Warlord becomes tapped, another target creature you control gets +X/+X until end of turn, where X is the number of basic land types among lands you control. And then our rare is the Academy Lore Master, a 2/3 human wizard for 2 islands. At the beginning of each player's draw step, that player may draw an additional card. If they do, spells they cast this turn cost 2 more to cast. And then our foil, the Battlewing Mystic, a 2/1 bird wizard for an island and 1, and it has a kicker of a mountain. Flying when Battlewing Mystic enters the battlefield. If it was kicked, discard your hand, then draw 2 cards. Ooh! And then we get a Vault card. Coalition Victory. A sorcery for a forest, mountain, swamp, island, plain, and 3. You win the game if you control a land of each basic land type and a creature of each color. That's crazy. Okay, so let's make a pile for Vault cards. We've got art cards, basic lands, non-basic lands, and Vault cards. And then, of course, we're just putting all of our boosters right here because I have a whole sorting process that I do. Okay, next pack in. Our art card is... Ooh. Furious Bellow. Let me make sure. There we go. Ooh, we get a stained glass mountain. Go ahead and do another stack for those. Okay. And then Argivian Phalanx, a 4/4 human core soldier for a plains and 5. This spell costs 1 less to cast for each creature you control, and it has vigilance. Llanowar Stalker, a 1/1 elf warrior for a forest. Whenever another creature enters the battlefield under your control, Llanowar Stalker gets +1/+0 until end of turn. Impulse, an instant for an island and 1. Look at the top 4 cards of your library. Put one of them into your hand and the rest on the bottom of your library in any order. Take up the shield, an instant for a plains and 1. Put a +1/+1 counter on target creature. It gains lifelink and indestructible until end of turn. Balduvian Atrocity, a 2/3 Phyrexian Berserker for a swamp and 2, and it has a kicker of a mountain. It has Menace. When Balduvian Atrocity enters the battlefield, if it was kicked, return target creature card with mana value 3 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. It gains haste. Sacrifice it at the beginning of the next end step. Cut down, an instant for a swamp. Destroy target creature with total power and toughness 5 or less. Joda's Codex. An artifact for 5. It has Domain of 5. Or Domain 5. Tap, draw a card. This ability costs 1 less to activate for each basic land type among lands you control. Okay, I see what's going on. Nail, Avazoa Aeronaut. A 2/4 legendary Elf Scout for an island, a forest, and 2. It has flying and domain. Whenever Nail Avazoa Aeronaut deals combat damage to a player, look at the top X cards of your library. Where X is the number of basic land types among lands you control, put up to 1 of them on top of your library, and the rest on the bottom in a random order. Then, if there are 5 basic land types among lands you control, draw a card. Rulik Mons, War in Chief. I know we've seen this one before for sure. A legendary 3/3 legendary goblin for 2 forests, a mountain, and 1. Menace. Whenever Rulik Mons, War in Chief attacks, look at the top card of your library. If it's a land card, you may put it onto the battlefield tap. If you didn't put a card onto the battlefield this way, create a 1/1 red goblin creature token. Ooh, and then our rare is the Stronghold Arena. An enchantment for a swamp and 1, and it has a kicker of a forest and or a plains. When Stronghold Arena enters the battlefield, you gain 3 life for each time it was kicked. Whenever 1 or more creatures you control deal combat damage to a player, you may reveal the top card of your library and put it into your hand. If you do, you lose life equal to its mana value. Okay, and our foil card is a Keldon Strike Team, a 3/1 human warrior for a mountain and 2. Has a kicker of a plains and 1. When Keldon Strike Team enters the battlefield, if it was kicked, create 2 1/1 white soldier creature tokens. As long as Keldon Strike Team entered the battlefield this turn, creatures you control have haste. And then we get a soldier token. Okay, next pack in. Next pack in, we get Shauna Purifying Blade. Shauna. Basic Plains. We get a Bone Splinters, a sorcery for a swamp. As an additional cost to cast this spell, sacrifice a creature, destroy target creature. Academy Wall, a 0/5 wall for a plains and not a plains, but an island and 2. It has Defender, which means it can't attack. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, you may draw a card. If you do, discard a card. This ability triggers only once each turn. Clockwork Drawbridge, a 0/3 artifact wall for a plains that has Defender, and then for a plains and 2. And tap target creature. That's actually not bad. Floriferous Vine Wall, a 0/2 plant wall for a forest and 1. It has Defender. When Floriferous Vine Wall enters the battlefield, look at the top 6 cards of your library. You may reveal a land card from among them and put it into your hand. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. Baird Argivian Recruiter, a 2/2 legendary human soldier for a plains and a mountain. At the beginning of your end step, if you control a creature with power greater than its base power, create a 1/1 white soldier creature token. Resolute Reinforcements. Resolute Reinforcements. A 1/1 human soldier For a Plains and 1, it has Flash. When Resolute Reinforcements enters the battlefield, create a 1/1 white soldier creature token. The Weather Seed Treaty. It's a saga for a forest and 2. Oh, you can actually read ahead. You can choose which chapter you want to start with. So you can start wherever you want. That's actually cool. So, at first lore counter, search your library for a basic land card, put it onto the battlefield, tapped, and shuffle. At 2 lore, create a 1/1 green sapperling creature token, and then at 3 lore, domain target creature you control gets +X/+X and gains trample until end of turn, where X is the number of basic land types among lands you control. Ooh, we got another Tatyova. And then our rare is Sten, Paranoid Partisan, a 2/2 legendary human wizard for an island and a plane. As Sten, Paranoid Partisan enters the battlefield, choose a card type other than creature or land. Spells you cast at the chosen type cost 1 less to cast. And then for an island, a plains, and 1, exile Sten, return it to the battlefield under its controller's. Exile Sten, return it to the battlefield under its owner's control at the beginning of the next end step. Okay, so he technically has Flash. Oh, we get 2 rares. That's actually cool. We get the Defiler of Flesh, a 4/4 Phyrexian horror for 2 swamps and 2. It has Menace as an additional cost to cast black permanent spells. You may pay 2 life. Those spells cost a swamp less to cast if you paid life this way. This effect reduces only the amount of black mana you pay. Whenever you cast a black permanent spell, target creature you control gets +X/+X and gains Menace until end of turn. And then our foil is a Tattered Apparition, a 2/2 shade. For a swamp and 3, it has flying. And then for a swamp and 1, Tattered Apparition gets +1/+1 until end of turn. And then we get an Elemental token. And last, Dominaria United pack. Before we start checking out the Brothers War. Hopefully we might get another Transformers card. I would love to get another Transformers card. Okay. And then our art card is the Writhing Necromass. Actually looks pretty cool. I like that. Mountains. Juniper Order Rootweaver, a 2/2 human druid for a plains and 1. It has a kicker for a forest. When Juniper Order Rootweaver enters the battlefield, if it was kicked, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature you control. Vine Shaper Prodigy, a 2/2 elf druid for a forest and 1. It has a kicker of an island and 1. When Vine Shaper Prodigy enters the battlefield, if it was kicked, look at the top 3 cards of your library, put one of them into your hand, and the rest on the bottom of your library in any order. Yavimaya Sojourner, a 4/6 tree folk for a forest and 7. It has domain. The spell costs 1 less to cast for each basic land type among lands you control. Battle Rage Blessing, an instant for a swamp and 1. Target creature gains death touch and indestructible until end of turn. Electrostatic Infantry, a 1/2 dwarf wizard for a mountain and 1. It has trample. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, put a +1/+1 counter on Electrostatic Infantry. I actually like that ability. Slimefoot Survey, a sorcery for a forest and 4. Domain, search your library for up to 2 land cards that each have a basic land type. Put them onto the battlefield tapped, then shuffle. Look at the top X cards of your library, where X is the number of basic land types among lands you control. Put up to 1 of them on top of your library and the rest on the bottom of your library in any order. Ooh, we got another Nail. Or Nail, Avazoa Aeronaut. Aaron, Benalia's Ruin. Another Baird. And then our rare is Temporary Lockdown, an enchantment for 2 planes and 1. When Temporary Lockdown enters the battlefield, exile each non-land permanent with mana value 2 or less until Temporary Lockdown leaves the battlefield. That's not bad. And then our foil, Yavimaya Steel Crusher, a 2/2 Ape Warrior for a Mountains and 1. Enlist, as this creature attacks, you may tap a non-attacking creature you control without summoning sickness. When you do, add its power to this creature's until end of turn. And then for 1, sacrifice Yavimaya Steel Crusher, destroy target artifact. And then we get another soldier token. Okay, so not some bad pulls. Okay, put those to the side. And now let's start tearing into these, well, cracking into these Brothers War packs. I'm excited to see what we get out of these. Okay, so our first art card is... Ooh, I like that. It is Liberator Urza's Battlethopter. Ooh, we get a foil island. Falaji Chain Dancer, a 2/4 human soldier for a mountain and 3. For 2, Falaji Chain Dancer gains double strike until end of turn. Military Discipline. Actually, I know we've seen the Military Discipline from the Brothers War box. A lot of these are going to look familiar from the Wednesday unboxing. I actually can't remember a lot of what we've seen, to be honest. Perimeter Patrol, a 3/3 human soldier for a force and 2. Whenever an artifact enters the battlefield under your control, Perimeter Patrol gets +1/+0 until end of turn. Phalanx Vanguard, 2/2 human soldier for a plains and 1. It has vigilance. Whenever an artifact enters the battlefield under your control, Phalanx Vanguard gets +1/+0 until end of turn. Battlefield Butcher, a 1/4 human soldier for a swamp and 2. For 5 and tap it, each opponent loses 2 life. This ability costs 1 less to activate for each creature card in your graveyard. That's not bad. Static Net, an enchantment for a plains and 3. When Static Net enters the battlefield, exile target non-land permanent an opponent controls until Static Net leaves the battlefield. When Static Net enters the battlefield, you gain 2 life and create a tapped Power Stone token. Pyrrhic Blast, I know we've seen that one. Oh, we got a rare land card. We got the Battlefield Forge, and we got the full art Battlefield Forge. You can tap to add colorless mana or tap to add a mountain or plains. Battlefield Forge deals 1 damage to you. I like that. Ooh, we got a liquid metal coating for our relic. So it's cost 2, and then tap. Target permanent becomes an artifact in addition to its other types until end of turn. And then our rare is Drafna, founder of Alatnam, a 2/1 legendary human artificer advisor for an island and 1. And then tap an island and 1, return target artifact you control to its owner's hand. And then for 3, and tap Drafna, copy target artifact spell you control. The copy becomes a token. That's actually really cool. And then our foil is the Gurgling Anointer, a 1/3 Phyrexian Horror for a swamp and 2. It has flying. Whenever you draw your second card each turn, put a +1/+1 counter on Gurgling Anointer. When Gurgling Anointer dies, return another target creature card with mana value less than or equal to Gurgling Anointer's power from your graveyard to the battlefield. Ooh, cool. And then we get one of these punch outs for prototype and +1/+1 counters. That's actually really cool. Okay. Next pack in. Art card is Takasia Dig Site Mentor. Okay, we get a Plains. Mishra's Onslaught. An instant for a mountain and 3. Choose one, create 2 1/1 colorless soldier artifact creature tokens. Creatures you control get +2/+0 until end of turn. Disfigure, an instant for a swamp. Target creature gets -2/-2 until end of turn. Shoot down, a sorcery for a forest and 3. Exile target artifact, enchantment, or creature with flying. I know we've seen the Rock Hunter before. Aeronaut's Wings, an equipment for 2. Equipped creature gets +1/+0 and has flying, and it costs 2 to equip. Gnawing Vermin, a 1/1 rat for a swamp. When Gnawing Vermin enters the battlefield, target player mills 2 cards. When Gnawing Vermin dies, target creature you don't control gets -1/-1 until end of turn. Junkyard Genius, a 2/2 human artificer for a mountain, a swamp, and 1. When Junkyard Genius enters the battlefield, create a tapped Power Stone token. And then for a mountain, swamp, and 1, sacrifice another creature or artifact until end of turn. Other creatures you control get +1/+0 and gain menace and haste. Arbalest Engineers, 2/2 human artificer for a forest, a mountain, and 1. When Arbalest Engineers enters the battlefield, choose 1. Arbalest Engineers deals 1 damage to any target. +1/+1 counter on target creature. It gains trample and haste until end of turn. Or create a tapped Power Stone token. Okay. Oh, wow. We got a mythic relic. The Staff of Domination. Costs 3. So you can tap 1. Untap Staff of Domination. Tap 2 and tap it. You gain 1 life. Tap 3, tap it. Untap target creature. Tap 4 and tap. Tap target creature. Tap 5 and tap. Draw a card. And then we get Painful Quandary. For our rare. And I think this is actually... I think this is a reprint, because I remember playing a card like this back in the day, but it's an enchantment for 2 swamp and 3. Whenever an opponent casts a spell, that player loses 5 life unless they discard a card. And then our foil is the Tomakul Honor Guard, a 3/1 human soldier for a forest and 1. It has ward, and it has ward 2. Okay, and then one of those weird magic minigame things. Okay, third pack in. Okay, our art card is the Retrieval Agent. Ooh, we get a foil. Full art Plains. I like that. Conscripted Infantry, a 3/1 human soldier for a forest and 2. When Conscripted Infantry dies, create a 1/1 colorless soldier artifact creature token. Supply Drop, an artifact for 3. It has flash. When Supply Drop enters the battlefield, target creature you control gets +2/+2 until end of turn. And then for 4 and tap, sacrifice Supply Drop, draw a card. Combat Courier, a 1/1 artifact construct for 1. You can pay 2 to sacrifice Combat Courier, draw a card, and then unearth for an island. Sardian Cliff Stomper, a 0/4 Minotaur Barbarian for a mountain and 1. As long as it's your turn and you control 4 or more mountains, Sardian Cliff Stomper gets +X/+0, where X is the number of mountains you control. That's actually pretty cool. Obliterating Bolt, a sorcery for a mountain 1. Obliterating Bolt deals 4 damage to target creature or planeswalker. If that creature or planeswalker would die this turn, exile it instead. Yotian Frontliner, I do remember seeing this card. Third Patch Ironclast, a 2/1 Human Monk for a forest and an island. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, create a 1/1 colorless soldier artifact creature token. What? This is really cool. Thanos, Solemn Survivor. This is a mythic card. It is a 1/3 legendary human artificer for a island and 1. Tap 2 and tap it. Create a token that's a copy of up to 1 target artifact token you control. Mill 2 cards. For a swamp, island, plains, and 1, and tap. Sacrifice 2 artifact tokens. Exile an artifact or creature card from your graveyard. Create a token that's a copy of the exiled card, except it's an artifact in addition to its other types. Activate only as a sorcery. Oh, wow. And then we get Self-Assembler for our relic. 4/4 Assembly Worker for 5. When Self-Assembler enters the battlefield, you may search your library for an Assembly Worker creature card, reveal it, put it into your hand, then shuffle. And then our rare is the Teething Wormlet, a 1/1 worm for 1. Teething Wormlet has Death Touch as long as you control 3 or more artifacts. Whenever an artifact enters the battlefield under your control, you gain 1 life. If this is the first time this ability has resolved this turn, put a +1/+1 counter on Teething Wormlet. Our foil is Take Flight, an aura for an island and 3. Enchanted creature gets +1/+0 and has flying, and whenever this creature attacks, draw a card. And then our token is a Power Stone. Okay, last Brothers War pack. Please, Transformers card in this pack, please. I would love to get another Transformers card. Ooh. And then we get the art card for the Self-Assembler. That's really cool. Okay, a basic mountain. Yotian Medic, a 1/4 human cleric soldier for a plains and 2, and it has lifelink. Air Marshal, a 2/1 human soldier for an island and 1. Pay 3, target soldier gains flying until end of turn. Whirling Strike, an instant for a mountain and 1. Target creature gets +2/+0 and gains first strike and trample until end of turn. Giant Growth, an instant for a forest. Target creature gets +3/+3 until end of turn. This is a old school card that's been revived. I like that. Well, I've seen Giant Growth a lot. Philology Vanguard, a 2/3 human soldier for a plains, mountain, and 2. First strike, whenever Philology Vanguard or another creature enters the battlefield under your control, target creature gets +2/+0 until end of turn. Yotian Tactician, a 3/4 human soldier for an island, a plains, and 2. Other soldiers you control get +1/+1. Zephyr Sentinel, a 2/1 human soldier for an island and 1. It has flash and flying. When Zephyr Sentinel enters the battlefield, return up to 1 other target creature you control to its owner's hand. If it was a soldier, put a +1/+1 counter on Zephyr Sentinel.
Our relic is Thorn of Amethyst. It's a rare one, too. An artifact for 2. Non-creature spells cost 1 more to cast. We get another relic. Another rare relic. The Phyrexian Revoker, a 2/1 Phyrexian Horror for 2. As Phyrexian Revoker enters the battlefield, choose a non-land card name. Activated abilities of sources with the chosen name can't be activated. And then our rare card is the Liberator, Urza's Battlethopter. A 1/2 legendary artifact creature Thopter for 3. It has flash and flying. You may cast colorless spells and artifact spells as though they had flash. Whenever you cast a spell, if the amount of mana spent to cast that spell is greater than Liberator, Urza's Battlethopter's power, put a +1/+1 counter on Liberator. And then our Fornius, and then our token is none. And with that, that is going to wrap it up for this booster pack opening. I hope y'all did enjoy. This was actually a lot of fun for me to do. I always love cracking open packs and seeing what I get out of them. Bakudad always loves cracking packs too. It's fun for both of us. But if you did, go ahead and like and subscribe if you have not already. Also, in the description, we have ways of you that you can help support our channel. We do have a coffee.com link in our description, which is used as a virtual tip jar. We always accept tips if you like what you see and want to help support our channel in any way. That's always helpful. I also have a Twitch channel in the description below, which I stream every Wednesday and Sunday currently. That's been a lot of fun for me to do. Just near the end of November, I finished Evil Within, which was a lot of fun, and I've been playing some different games on, or at least a different game on stream, which has also been fun. But until next video, I am Bakudad signing out, one half of the Baku Boys. And always remember to Bakugan Brawl, let it rip, and stay awesome and nerdy. Peace out, guys.